Okay, here's a story. I don't know who the author is, but it's kind of funny. When we think because we've always done it that way, do you hear that? Does that ring any bells? Well, the U.S. standard railroad gauge, the the distance between the rails is 4 feet 8.5 inches, which is a weird number, but that's the way it is. Why do they use that gauge? Well, that's the way they built them in England, and English expatriates built the U.S. railroads. All right. Why did the English build them that way? Well, the first rail lines were built by the same people who built the pre-railroad tramways, and that's the gauge that they used. Then why did they use that gauge? Well, the people who built the tramways used the same jigs and tools for building wagons, which was used, the wheel spacing, which they used. All right, you're saying, okay, why did the wagons have that particular odd spacing? Well, if they tried to use a different spacing, they tried to mess around with it, the wagon wheels would break off on these long roads in England because of the spacing of the wheel ruts. There were ruts in the roads. So, who built who built those rutted roads? Well, Imperial Rome first built the long distance roads in Europe. So, in England for their legions, and the roads have been used ever since. What about the ruts? The two ruts in the road. Well, the war chariots, the original Roman war chariots formed those ruts, which everyone else had to match, because if they didn't match the ruts, their wheels would be destroyed. Since the chariots were made for by Imperial Rome, they were alike in all matters of wheel spacing. So, the United States standard railroad gauge of 4 feet 8.5 inches is derived from the original specifications for an Imperial Roman war chariot. Bureaucracies live forever. So, the next time someone hands you a spec to build something or to do something, and told we have always done it that way, it's like, why do we do this? Well, we've always done it that way. And wonder what horse's ass came up with that. You are exactly right. Because the Imperial Rome chariots were made just wide enough to accommodate the back ends of two war horses. So here's the twist to the story. When you see a space shuttle sitting on the launch pad, and there's the two big booster rockets attached to the sides of the main fuel tank, you know those? Those are solid rocket boosters, SRBs. The SRBs are made by Theokel in the factory in Utah. So they make them in Utah. The engineers who designed the SRBs wanted to make them a little fatter, a little wider, but they had to be shipped by train from the factory to the launch site. So shipping by train, the railroad line from the factory runs through a tunnel in the mountains. The SRBs had to fit through that tunnel. The tunnel is slightly wider than the railroad track. That's the way tunnels work. And as you know, the railroad track is as wide as two horses' behinds. So, a major space shuttle design for what is the most advanced transportation system was determined over 2,000 years ago by the width of a horse's ass. And you thought being a horse's ass wasn't important. It's a little something in my head. No, I found that story and I thought it was quite interesting. Speaking of horses' asses, check out my first story on this about a guy and his girlfriend go to the circus. It's related. You'll like it. It's funny. I got stories on this channel. I'm also going to have some ESL stuff for my students. I'm an ESL teacher and I want to teach them and their friends.